Hello folks and welcome back to Medieval Total War. I am Khan of Steppe and this is going to be part 22 of my early campaign where I'm playing as the Danes. And I have started to get my economy back on track here. I am in the positive. I am making over 5 grand per turn. And right now I'm just focusing all of my economic developments into the British Isles, or in my provinces in the British Islands. So just working on my trading posts and yeah, the basics. I have some mines going here in Wales and some more mines here in Northumbria, and I'm just getting to the fort here in Scotland. I don't have any ports yet built in any of these provinces, so these armies are all stuck here until I can get them out, and that's probably fine for now, just because loyalty is like just okay-ish. You know, like if I moved this army from Wales, it's still fine. 86%. Can I improve that by lowering taxes? Yeah, sure, I could, but you know, may as well just, you know, do that for now since I can't move them off of the island in the first place. The only province that borders an enemy faction is Wessex, which is bordering Flanders, but the Germans are dealing with enough problems of their own. They attacked me in that last turn, and then their provinces went civil war. So yeah, they lost Friesland to a civil war. Normandy was not theirs, but yeah, they lost Friesland and they lost Austria. And I think that's it, but that's enough issues, right? And they obviously lost some soldiers attacking me in Saxony as well. So that was okay. And then I also was attacked here in Lithuania and Novgorod. Last turn, and for those of you who missed it, or forgot, I implemented my idea of lowering the amount of armies that I had in my bordering provinces in a way to cut down on upkeep, which I did. I cut down on maybe 1 or 2 grand. I can't quite remember, but I did end up disbanding a lot of those units, which were kind of extra. I moved the rest of the reinforcements, or the reserves, back here to Sweden, where they can reinforce any province through the Baltic Sea. They can reinforce all of these provinces, which I will have to do now. I will have to sort of re-up these armies and yeah, get some of these units back up to health, which is totally fine. I should have the units here in Sweden to do that in Lithuania, Novgorod, and Saxony. Now, the Poles did not attack me. We are not enemies. That's all good. And I just realized, you know what? I should probably try to get an alliance with the Poles, because I have no intention on ever attacking them. They're not strong. They're not powerful. They're not threatening. They aren't going to threaten me in regards to the GA points. So let's get an alliance with them. Like, I don't ever intend on attacking them. So, although, like, right as I say that, I'm wondering, okay, I don't have all of the future GA objectives for the Danes memorized. So I wonder if at some point I would be required to take some of their territories, but I don't think so. You know, if anything, I think I have some of their GA objectives, which would probably mean that they won't get that alliance with me. Bohemia is the only homelands that they do not have, and that's not my province, that's the Germans. So, yeah, maybe this will work. Maybe I can get an alliance with them. I just want to kind of make it less likely that they'll do something stupid and attack me. Having well, they're not strong, but having a less weak faction here as sort of a buffer between, well, anyone else, the Hungarians or the Horde or whoever, is better than having just the Horde can just completely surround me at this point, or even the Hungarians as well. So I was doing some counting, which is not my strong suit, but based on how the GA points are going right now, I would, I think, catch up to Hungary, and I would surpass them, and I would win the campaign just on how things are right now, I think. Yeah, my math is very dubious, but I think I can make ground on that. I'm making quite a few points here. And, but I still think that I would attack them later on in this campaign, just to make things like a sure thing. It's kind of fun to get an epic campaign going in the late game of these early campaigns. It's nice to build up to something epic and fight this really cool fights in the end game, just because there's one of my favorite parts of this game in general is the evolution of the armies from the early period armies to the high period armies. in the early period, you know, it's really, I would say, it's really accurate. It seems like, you know, you're getting a lot of shield walls, some light infantry, just, you know, archers and javelins, and maybe some light cav. You know, a couple units, not a lot of light cav, but maybe a couple units of light cav if you're lucky, and your only heavy cav is like your bodyguard units in most cases. So, and then it kind of evolves. You get into the high period and you get more armor, you know, some more heavy duty infantry in regards to the your swords, your halberdiers, your spears are all heavily armored, and you get better knights units, whether it's the feudal or the chivalric knights, and you have crossbows, and you have something that's akin to a very typical or traditional idea of what a medieval army looks like. You know, when you think of medieval army, you think of the high period armies. But then there's the late period as well, and the late period is represented in this game. It's cool. There's pikes and there's guns, and you can use armies like that. It's a neat thing. It really is. I would suggest using dismounted chivalric knights as your real like grinder units, because they're so good, and they do fit. I think that, you know, having good halberdiers was still being used, like professional halberdier units were being used in the late period, I believe, as an anti-cav unit. So I think it still fits the theme. But the problem with the late period armies is that they're not so strong that they overcome the high period armies. You can definitely win an entire campaign with just your high period armies. They're good. You know, chivalric knights are very, very good, and you can get by with pretty much all the other heavy metal stuff. If you are playing the Catholic factions, you can get by with your high period armies. So you're not really required to get to the late period, which is unfortunate. The power of the guns is a little bit toned down for my liking. I will obviously, you know, use these armies if I get a chance to, because they are fun and they are thematic to use. Pikes as well, they can be powerful, but they are kind of tricky to use as well. It's pike and shot warfare is kind of hard to replicate in this game. But I've had some practice playing Shogun, and the pike and shot armies work a lot better in that game, just because the guns are actually quite powerful. And I will try to use my experience with Shogun in this game to make those types of armies work. And I had a comment on my last video, and this has been something that has been brought up before on this channel, and I've talked about before, but it's always nice to, I like talking about this because I like to think about what is the most fun and what is the most best way to play these campaigns. Obviously, personal preference is a huge factor here, but the question that is asked of me often is, why don't I play more aggressive? And for one thing, I still plan on doing a conquest campaign at some point with one of these early factions, maybe even two of them. I don't want to do that with all of these factions in the early campaign, because I just think that would be a real slog. I really do. I think that getting over the challenge of the early period of an early campaign is usually the most interesting part of these campaigns. And then once you're kind of past that, it's not that difficult. And pretending that it isn't making the campaigns more fun. You know, in this case, I'd like to get some more battles in by reducing the amount of forces on my borders, and we will see how that affects the rest of this campaign. But still, in general, my understanding of playing the early campaign is that it's kind of the easy mode regardless of what you're playing as. I may come to a point, I do think that the Crusader factions like England and France and Germany and Italy, I think they will be more interesting than any of the factions that I have played so far, just because their objectives are a lot more interesting. They have to get basically all of their Crusade objectives before the early period ends, which is really cool. That's a really cool thing. And they still can make points on Crusades later on, but to get their actual like GA objectives complete, it has to be finished before 1204, 1205, I think. So that's really neat. In addition to that, they have other objectives to go after as well, which is just a really cool thing. And I'm looking forward to playing those factions when I get around to them. And I think that maybe that's kind of where the real meat and potatoes of the early campaign lies, is in playing as these factions, these Western and Central European factions. Otherwise, playing as these factions that are, You know, it's funny. I've just been kind of playing as like the Almohads, the Byzantines, the Danes. Like this happens to be easy factions. The Arachnes were the most difficult faction that I played as so far, and they were one of the first factions that I played as, and I still did okay. I definitely I would do a lot better if I played them now, just because I understand the game a bit more. But it was still manageable considering my lack of experience with this game. It was okay. So I don't think that playing a conquest style on this game makes it more difficult. I don't. I think it's pretty easy whether you're playing G objectives or conquest. The economy is so overpowered and the navies are so powerful in this game that it's hard to replicate. It's hard to create a challenge artificially in this regard, just because the AI doesn't quite understand how to build its trade networks. And although it does build ships, it doesn't quite understand how to profit off of their ships, and doesn't quite understand how to plan a naval invasion. It can do it, but it's almost more like an accident than a plan. And it's almost more because of an oversight by the human player than it is, as I said, a masterful execution by the AI. So it's that. So I think that overall, the early period, or the early, style of campaign, overall, you just have so much time to figure things out and build things up and get your points up that it seems like this is the easy mode, regardless of whether you're playing Conquest or GA. Even if you are playing defensive like this, and, right, somewhat defensive, I've still built up a decent Northern Empire here, right? But even if you are doing this, and then you look across the map and you go, oh no, I have to take care of Egypt. Hey, as long as you have your boats, you can do something about it. As long as you have boats that can beat their navy, and you can invade. Let me look at this. If I ever had to invade Egypt, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 provinces that I can invade by sea. How do they defend against that other than with a navy? And same with the Hungarians as well. It's just, it's kind of a nice thing, actually. I don't mind this at all. I like being able to go anywhere in the map by using strong navies. I think that's a really cool thing. And it allows for a lot of freedom to basically not have to move by land, conquering. No, you can just go, hey, I want to kill them, and let's use my navy, and let's go kill them, and I can go back to my home. I kind of like that. It feels more thematic this way than just painting the entire map a certain color. So I do enjoy it. I think that works okay. With that being said, I do think some of my campaigns have been duds. I think that the Byzantines campaign was sort of, it was a little bit too boring. And I was really disappointed in the lack of GA objectives for the Byzantines, considering how historically important they were, and just considering what you could have done, what the devs could have done with creating really neat objectives for them. It was really disappointing to see that nothing was really created for the Byzantines. Very interesting. They didn't have a restore Rome or a restore Justinian's Rome kind of thing. I know it doesn't fit the time period, but still, it was like, man, there was options there. There's options, it felt like. Anyway, I think that this game might become more interesting when it gets into the high period campaigns and the late period campaigns, just because of that time crunch. I think that is what is going to make things more interesting, just because, hey, then if someone gets ahead of you, you have to go get them. You have to go get that faction and wipe them out before things get a little bit crazy. So I think that's going to be cool. However, with that being said, I also have to strike a balance here with playing these campaigns. Sure, on one hand, I am okay with sort of breezing through large sections of these early campaigns. If that means getting them over a bit quicker, I am okay with that. If I see myself in a good spot, my economy is fine, and my points are fine, I don't mind going through a few turns. With that being said, though, you might make the case, well, if I'm just trying to end these campaigns quickly, then why don't I blitz, right? Okay, yes, fair. I could probably win these campaigns faster if I just attacked and, went conquest style and just painted the map. The thing is that that's where balancing the line comes into play. I feel like I feel like if I just did that, the campaigns would be over too fast. I feel like I would be done with certain campaigns by now. You know, if I played really fast, I think I could win campaigns by the year 1280. You know, maybe just on a moderate level, maybe the year 1300. Maybe pushing it a bit further, maybe 1325. But I don't think I'm getting to the year 1400 if I'm playing conquest style. And I think that by doing that, I would be missing out on what I mentioned earlier, which is one of my favorite features in this game, which is the evolution of the armies. If I'm winning these games in what is essentially still the high period, or the very early portion of the late period, then I'm not really building up these really cool, thematic, late period pike and shot kind of... It feels like I'm missing out, you know? And even though, yes, there is a certain point where it's like, okay, let's just get the campaign over and let's move on with the next one, I still want to get what I can out of these experiences, you know? So anyway, there's my rant of the day. I needed to get that one out. I don't, what am I trying to say? I don't get annoyed by these questions. I do appreciate when these are asked of me. So like, you know, if you've ever wondered why I do play this way, I do appreciate going back to this question and covering it, because it is something that's constantly on my mind as someone who is a content creator and someone who obviously needs to create stuff that's being watched, as well as stuff that I enjoy playing. It's definitely a valid thing for me to talk about and to think about. So I basically wrote an essay answering this question in the comments to my last video, and it got my brain going. So there you go. Now I just had to spend some time talking about it on this episode. So all right, now let's get on with this episode. I think that was a long precursor, just because that was a disclaimer letting you know. I just spent 15 minutes telling you that this episode might be me just burning through turns, or not, you know, because I have these light border defenses. Maybe I will be attacked again. I think that the only faction that might still be strong enough to attack me would be the Mongols. I don't think that the Germans are going to mess with me again anytime soon, that is. I still wonder about my fleets. My fleets are not quite doubled up in parts of the... This is a little bit dodgy. I said I wouldn't do this, but I need to make the money while I can. Well, I mean, while I have my boats. And I'm doubled up in some places, but then again, so are the Hungarians. You know, they match me 2 for 2 here in the Mertun Sea. And it's dodgy. Yeah, it's dodgy. I feel like there could be another naval war coming up. I mean, the Sicilians have a lot of boats as well. They just have they have one province and they just have 1 million boats. Oh yeah. Yeah, and the Hungarians have a decent naval presence as well. So it's a bit dodgy. It is. It feels like I'm making some money for now, but you know, I need to keep building these boats. I'm building them here in Norway, Sweden, Denmark. I was going to build them here in Livonia, but let's get some more spies out, just because I don't have any spies in my British provinces. And for me, when it comes to my provincial loyalty, I like to have layers here. You might know this by now if you watch a lot of my videos, but it's not good enough for me to have just a watchtower and a border fort. No. I want like a spy. I want peasants garrisoning the castles. I want all of the happiness buildings. I want a church. Town watch gives happiness. I believe a tavern also gives happiness as well. Like, I want all that shit, especially in Scotland. You know, I would build all of those buildings in Scotland just because it's one of the most rebellious provinces in this campaign. I know it's Scotland, Portugal, and then I think Lithuania and Livonia are the other 2. And then there's a 5th one. There's a 5th province that's also on that scale of rebelliousness, and I can't, it's escaping me right now. Serbia? Is it Serbia? Yeah, I can't remember. There's a 5th province that has a like a loyalty debuff thing, and I can't place it right now. Would it be like Switzerland, maybe? Yeah, I can't think of it right now, but yeah, in any case, it's kind of funny how I own 3 of those 5 provinces that you know, need that loyalty boost. And I think I built all of those buildings in Livonia, did I not? Yeah, tavern. Yep, town watch. I was like, I knew it. I needed it. I felt like I really needed that building. Yep, a church as well. Yep. Yeah, do I have all of those here in Lithuania? I have enough soldiers here. It doesn't really matter, but yeah, I could build a tavern there if I wanted, but it's fine, I think. But I probably will build all of those buildings here in Scotland because, as I was saying, just to be uber careful. And yes, I will get my spies over there as well, just to keep the population loyalty. I don't mess around, you know. I'm not trying to get re-emergences and civil wars in my backyard. No, that's not fun for me. So, I mean, it can be. King Olaf is young, and he has a son on the way. Prince Christopher, I believe, is his son. I mean, it has to be his son. And the other heirs are just the king's brothers, I believe. I have a princess. Maybe the Germans might be open to getting a ceasefire now that they're in a civil war. I wouldn't mind that. It would just give me one more province to trade with. It's the only port that I'm not trading with. So it's not much, but honestly, if I could just prop the Germans up a little bit, because right now they're kind of the only thing standing in between me and the French, and the French are looking powerful. Now, this is a reemergence of the French, so I don't have to worry about them in regards to their points. But still, having as much of a buffer between me and the French as possible would be nice, and it looks like that buffer might disappear. So I would not mind I wouldn't mind propping up the Germans. I wouldn't. Also, how is diplomacy looking between the French? Are they... Let me slow down. They are at war with the Italians. Okay, they are. Okay. Huh. Let me look at that again. Are the French... And they are excommunicated as well. Interesting. Well, the Italians look... I was going to say strong. They have peasants here. They have some good units, but yeah, they do have a few peasants. Yeah, the Almohads... Man, the Almohads, I feel like they could attack, but they're being really passive. But at least the Egyptians are attacking the Hungarians. That's pretty dope. I like that. They have a jihad here that's going after Constantinople, and it should achieve that. Yep, it looks like it. I guess it has to take down this garrison for it to win. And yeah, this is going to fall this turn, so just mostly siege equipment. Interesting. Yeah, that's not bad. I wouldn't mind that one bit. Okay, I don't think there is... okay, no, there's stuff I want to do. I do want to just get these armies refit and make sure that they are ready just in case they face another attack during this end turn. Now let's see if we will be facing another attack here. The Egyptians are still going in on the Hungarians, but after getting our defenses straightened out, it looks like, yeah, no one wanted to attack me in this turn. So yes, the Hungarians... They're retreating from Greece, so the Egyptians are pushing them back. Interesting. But the Egyptians have decided to retreat from Constantinople. Okay, that's... They should have finished this before they push on into Greece. Well, the Byzantines are happy. Good for them on their two little islands here, just kind of hanging out. And we are catching Egyptian assassins here in Prussia. Trading post, finish here in Wessex. So now Wessex can start making some money, some real money that is. Banking houses. So usury or lending money for profit is often considered a sin, but the rise of moneyed families who are prepared to lend to merchants, look after those same merchants' surplus cash, and even transfer money between branches of the family in different provinces is a vital advance for trade. So I don't think that really means anything in game. I think it's just kind of teaching us about history. And yes, the Germans really did not want to be our friends. That's unfortunate, but that's more of their loss than anything. And same with the Poles. They don't, yeah, after checking that they don't share homelands or any objectives with provinces that I have, I kind of thought I had a chance, but they're not going for it, which is interesting. It is. They might be allied with a Mongol horde, I think, maybe, and they don't want to piss them off, perhaps. King Olaf III, he is now a builder, plus 10 happiness in all provinces. Good for him. And let's see, anyone that is a starred general that I care about? It doesn't seem like it. So that's not an issue, and I wasn't attacked. Hey, that's good. That's good stuff. So we'll just keep going on that. Yeah, this is, oh man, the Egyptians, see, this is, guys, gotta do one thing before they do the next. You can't just, like, you might, now the Egyptians might lose all of this. Because this can sally out, and then these forces can pinch in, just leave a token garrison behind in Constantinople. Ay, 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 ay. And I think that counts as the Egyptians losing that jihad, unless, did this jihad just retreat? Is that? It can just retreat. Yeah, it's funny how that can happen. I don't think human jihads and crusades can retreat. I don't think so. I think that's just AI stuff. Yeah, but if it fails, that Sultan will be losing influence, so that could be a little bit dicey for the Egyptians. Did I just see the Hungarians going after the Poles? I think that's what I just saw. Yeah, and the poor Egyptians in Greece just got I think they got clobbered. I think they're going to lose that one. Looks like the Germans are going to take back Bohemia. I still have the largest army despite all of those reductions that I had made a few turns ago. And a whole list of, please don't be a sergeant general. Okay, I don't need another unhinged loon as a general. Let's see, I'm just looking for the generals with stars on them because those are the ones that matter here. This is a governor with +3 acumen. That's good. The -3 piety is not too important, I don't think. And did I see the Hungarians going after the Poles, or did I just imagine that? What did I see? Yeah, they attacked the Polish. Okay, that's interesting. Now, being that the Poles are smaller than the Hungarians, I wonder if the Pope is going to take an interest in this, because if the Hungarians get excommunicated, then they are going to be free real estate for anyone that wants to crusade in their direction. And I did see, yeah, the French created a crusade marker, but they have not sent it out yet, which is interesting, just to build it and kind of hang on to it. I wonder if they're too poor, because they still need to, like, pay for the crusade, I think. Right? They have to pay 1,000 florins, I think, is how that works. Yeah, in any case. Yeah, I'm making, let's see, over 5 grand. Yeah, still the same, I guess. So it's going to really kick off. I got my trading posts going, but now I need to get my ports built up here in these provinces. And yeah, then I should be able to make a decent income off of Great Britain. If my economy doesn't really like boom after that, I'm going to be a little bit frustrated. That's going to be unfortunate because I'm expecting a good boom off of these provinces, but we will see how that works out. Now, since I am going all in on my economy right now, I may as well, you know, I can't afford all of this, but I put it all in anyway. Citadels in all of these regions, in Saxony, Pomerania, and Prussia. Citadels will unlock the highest tier of trade building, which will be available. And then I started building that master merchant in Novgorod, and then Lithuania is working on the Merchants Guild before I can build a citadel there. And then, yep, I've been reminded over and over and over again that farm income is worth it in this game. At this point in the campaign, it probably is still worth it to max out my farmland in all of my provinces. Even my poorest farm province is going to be worth my money back. My channel accountant has reminded me again and again that this is something that's important to do, and I'm finally going to do it here. And I will be maxing out on my farm income in all of my provinces. So, yeah, I'm going all in here. I'm not going to be able to afford everything that I just put in, but yeah, I'm going for it. I want to get my money back, and yeah, I'm still building everything here in the British Isles as well. Okay. All right, let's go for it. Let's drop a save and let's keep moving on here. Now the Poles are attacking the Hungarians. Oh my goodness, they think they're strong enough to pull that off? I don't know about that. But I'm here for it, you know? Anyone who wants to cause issues for the Hungarians, I'm all for it. So I'm the richest, go me. The Holy Roman Emperor has been killed in battle, but the new emperor has been elected to lead the Germans. Port is finished here in Wessex, and now I can finally make that good money. Yeah, I was mistaken before when I had built the trading post. I thought that I was set to make money in Wessex. No, not now. I am. Now I have the port, which will be connecting me to all other ports in the campaign. Farmland improved here in Norway, Livonia, and yes, not enough money. That's what we're gonna keep going with it. I'm just gonna keep spending because, yeah, I think it's gonna get me where I want to be in the long run. Hey! Here we are. The Almohads are attacking the French in Castile, and the French are retreating. Yes, that's kind of what I wanted to see there. Yeah, put some more pressure on the French. How about it? Copper Mine Complex is finished here in Northumbria. Port is finished here in Mercia. Another port is finished here in Ireland. And yep, not enough money, but that's okay. And we have a daughter on the way. King Olaf III is now a great builder, +1 loyalty to all generals, and +10 happiness. Yes, that's all good. And anything else that matters? Prince Canute, +1 piety. Good for him. Alright, how's the income looking? Making almost 10 grand now. Yeah, that helps. Having those ports finished up in Mercia and Ireland. Now making a grand in Ireland, not bad. And making over 1,200 here in Mercia. And making almost 1,200 in Wessex. That's fine, you know? And now what I can do is I can build a keep in Mercia so that I can get up to the 2nd tier merchant building in Mercia. And then I can do the same thing in Ireland. Northumbria is working on a trading post soon as I can afford it, I guess. And still working on farming income there. I have my farm income all the way built up here in Sweden, because they actually make good farm income, I believe. Yeah, I think Sweden makes... they're making 745 off farms, so that's not bad. And yeah, we still haven't started building that citadel in Saxony. Unfortunately, I've just been running out of money as quickly as I make it, so... But I'm working on my citadels here in Pomerania and Prussia, and it's going to be a while, but you know what, that's going to be fine. It's going to be worth it once I get up to that master merchant building. And yeah, that's all looking good. Am I building boats? Yep, I'm still building boats as well. Yeah, that's one of the most important things, is that I keep building my boats. Uh-oh, this is what I was afraid of. So it looks like the Egyptians may have attacked me in the sea, and yeah, I lost that battle in the Sea of Marmara, so that's going to be cutting off my trade, not just from Constantinople, but also in the Black Sea as well, because I do have a boat up there. But also, more importantly, that's going to cut off my trade to all of the Egyptian provinces, which is a few at this point, and they are rich ones. So, yeah, that's tough. I could have used... You know, I'm not out of the woods yet in regards to my economy, especially with the way that I'm spending money currently. So, let's see. The French are the most highly teched up faction, so good for them. And then oh, that sucks. I have a bark that was sunk. No, this is not my bark. I'm not building any barks because I have longboats. Longboats are cheaper and better, mostly. So, this is not my boat. It's a little confusing. It can get, like, it doesn't tell you anything. You just have to be like, oh, that's not mine. So, yes, I'm assuming it was like a Hungarian or Sicilian bark that was sunk. Sweet. Let's see, the Byzantine Emperor has died from an illness, but they are pretty much a non-factor in this campaign up to this point. And we do have some farmland finished here in Denmark, so we will be needing that. The Mastery of Time. There were 12 hours in a day from dawn to dusk. In summer, the hours were long, in winter, short. Time was measured in tomorrows, todays, and yesterdays, but no longer. The clock now strikes out the hours with heavenly regularity, making men work and trade to its fast beat, and work harder as a result. Again, just one of those things that kind of tells you about the history of the time. I don't think this has any, anything to do with the gameplay. Luckily, I still am making 3,600 florins, so that's something. That is something. And I have 12,000 florins in the bank right now. How bad is it? How bad is it, doctor? So yeah, I need to bring some boats down there, and let's see, so I never had boats there, but there's no ports there, so it doesn't matter. And what is it going to take for me to get an auto ceasefire with the Egyptians? They're all the way here in Tunisia, so I'd have to bring my boats all the way to the Barbary coast on this side. Also to the Malta Channel, I can't just bring boats there because it is not a deep sea region. This is bordering the the Malta Island. So I can just bring, you know, like these long boats to the Malta Channel. That's an option. That is an option. How many Egyptian boats are there? There's one in the Sea of Marmara, and there's one here in the Adriatic, and there's one here in the Gulf of Gabes. That's a papal boat. Yeah, the Egyptians don't have a large fleet. They're just messing around, you know? It's really annoying. It's really annoying. They're just messing around. So I would have to get my boats essentially to this Mertun Sea in this region, like in this area, and then Malta Channel and the Barbary Coast. I don't think it's going to be that hard to get that auto ceasefire. I don't think so. Where can I go up here? Maybe is the Dodecanese Sea going to be... I don't think this is... Yeah, this is just going to be touching Nicaea. And that's owned by the Turks. And Rhodes, of course, which is also owned by the Turks. So that might be okay. And these are both caravels, so I can just bring them to the central Mediterranean, which is a deep sea region. So yeah, let's just do that there, and then this. You can stay in the Sea of Crete, and then you can come down to the Mertun Sea. You guys just go to the Sea of Marmara for now. If you get attacked, it's fine, because there's two of you. And let's just focus on getting that auto ceasefire for now, because I think that I can get it quickly, actually. I think I can get that auto ceasefire within a turn or two. Yeah, it's annoying, it is. It's frustrating, but I think I'm going to be okay. My economy should rebound somewhat quickly. I wonder how much I'm going to be down to after losing... Because I had already lost these ports, and I will be losing... I won't be able to trade... I think I will keep trade with the Byzantines there in Crete. I will lose Cyprus, and I will keep Rhodes, so I will keep trading with that. I don't think I'm going to lose that much. Like, not much more than I already have lost, is what I mean. So, I think my economy might stay in, like, the, you know, 3 to 2 grand region for now, you know. That might be okay. And then I can go back into these Egyptian regions once I have that auto ceasefire, and once I have, you know, at least 2 boats to put into every single region, just to try to dissuade the Egyptians. Because yeah, I only had 1 boat in the Sea of Marmara. I was playing it pretty loose. I really wanted to get boats into the Black Sea so that I could trade with these ports. Shit, there's only 2 ports here that I was trading with. It wasn't there. God, there's not a lot here in the Black Sea. Even if the Mongols built stuff, I can't trade with them because they won't stop being at war with me. The Turks are too poor to build a port here in Georgia, so... The Hungarians could build something here in Bulgaria. Come on, guys. You have trade goods here. You have grain. Come on. Come on. Oh, well. I think it's going to be a minor hiccup. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, now this is kind of strange because I had just moved these boats just in the stern. You can tell because the sails are billowed out. I had just moved them from the Aegean Sea to the Mertun Sea, so I should not have gotten the ceasefire by now. You know, the ceasefire typically happens after a turn or two of not having any contact with the faction that you are at war with, right? But I am not currently at war with the Egyptians. How did that happen? That's very confusing. I know that you are not going to know the answer because I have, you know, kind of skipped a couple turns there as I was just sort of moving my boats out of the way. I took 2 turns to get my, you know, boats from the Black Sea to the Sea Marmara to the Aegean to the Mertun. That's bizarre. That's very interesting. Yeah, if they were right here in the Aegean, that borders Constantinople, which is owned by the Egyptians, so how the hell did I get an auto ceasefire? I am very confused by that. Income sitting at 2,600. The fact that I am making that much is, I would say, an accomplishment. I'm doing better off than the Egyptians, than the Germans. Hell, I mean, it looks like did the Civil War win? Okay, this is also a little bit confusing because the Germans had just had Normandy and Flanders, and they didn't have Friesland, and they didn't have Austria, and then these provinces just went over to the Germans. So that's a little bit interesting as well. But yeah, they're having a rough time of it for sure. And what about the Poles and the Hungarians? Are they still at war? I've not seen much movement on this side. Yeah, the Egyptians got a ceasefire with the Hungarians as well. Huh. That's interesting. And then the Almohads and the French, they are clashing down here. They are still at war, right? Yes, they are. Okay, I'm not going crazy. Okay, that's interesting. I should be able to start making money again, right? I'm gonna hang tight until I have the boats that I like. You know, as I was saying before, until I have 2 boats that I can push out into every province. The fact that I'm in the positive is good, and let's just do this right now. Let's do this the right way, the safe way, and let's not invite any more pointless, stupid wars from any factions that just happen to have a boat that they want to throw at me. Now that I have started to get some decent income coming from these provinces here in the British Isles, I think it's time for me to start working on my loyalty buildings so that I can eventually get these armies just moved off and, you know, have some of the units be disbanded and bring some of them back home. I only feel like I need to have 1 army guarding Wessex against Flanders, especially, the Germans do not have much here. So I think a lot of these units will end up being disbanded, so that's going to help save my economy in the long run. So let's get some town watches here in Wales and Scotland, just because these are the provinces that need the most help regarding their loyalty. I think Ireland is fine. Yeah, Ireland is fine. Northumbria is fine. Mercia is fine. It's just Wales and Scotland that, yeah, Scotland still kind of needs that army. 138's like okay, but I would prefer to be a bit higher. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna work on there, and eventually I will get this down just to have 1 stack. I want to kind of take a look at things first though and see what I need to move around and see what units I can merge together and get them retrained. I will have this 4-star General Lord Hildetund be the general here in Wessex, but his unit does need to be retrained because he got a bit banged up in that last battle. I think he fought down here in Wessex, I believe. And yeah, other than that though, I mean, the fact that we're making 4,500 now, and that feels pretty okay. Considering that I still have not retaken these Eastern Sea regions, just because I'm being very conservative right now. I do want to make sure that every time I do push out into a new sea region, that I do have 2 boats going into that region, at least 2 boats. at least. And the fact that I'm making an income, despite the fact that I have not even reached or, put boats back into these eastern sea regions, is pretty comforting. Kind of puts me in a place that makes me feel like I'm going to be all or A-okay. So, all right, I think that, let's see, I still have my income, my farm income going on. That feels pretty good. Also, in addition to this, something that I have to remind myself is that when I do build my farmlands, my farm upgrades, that gives steward traits to my governors of the provinces, but also my king himself. And these steward traits do increase the agricultural income of all of these, provinces. And I feel like, so there's a gamey way to do this, which is that you can, for instance, like cycle through these upgrades and then destroy them and cycle back through them just to give them, just to keep them on your new kings as you go, as a king dies and you get a new king, you have to do it all again. Unfortunately, when this king dies, he's going to lose, the next king will not have the steward trait. But I don't like to do that. I think that that's a little bit too gamey. It's a little bit too gamey just to burn everything down, just to build it back up again, just so that you can get that 10% bonus to the next king. That seems a little bit, off, but it's nice to have it. And in a time like this, especially like mid-game where I have the money to spend on economy and I'm sort of, gearing towards economy, and I feel like my borders are secure and all of that. That feels like the best time to get this going. And I feel like this is good timing for this as well, because my king started this off when he was fairly young. He's still only 38, so there's going to be plenty of time to reap the rewards from that steward trait. So I think that was all in all a pretty good choice that I sort of accidentally happened upon. And yeah, other than that though, I think that this is going quite swimmingly. And yeah, we'll be getting close to being able to push out. I want to have, 2 more boats to push on into the Africa coast. That's going to be the next region. And then I can swoop down here and, fill up the Gulf of Gabes when I have an extra boat. And yeah, we'll be moving on from there. But you know what? That is all going to have to wait until next time. As always, I hope you have enjoyed this one, and thank you very much for watching. This has been Khan of Steppe playing Medieval Total War. Thank you very much, and goodbye.